Whoa, 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 whoa. Test, 1, 2, test. 1, 2. Alright, hey, what's up, guys? It's Vic. Wow. Today is a very special day for me, personally, because, drumroll, I've been out as trans for 2 years. I thought it was 3, but my concept of time is, like, terrible. I mean, I'm 25, and I think, like, am I really 25? Am I really, like, halfway to 30? Or is that's just me? Or what? I mean, I'm literally, like, I turned 26 this year. So, technically, I'm only 4 years away from 30, which is even more scary. I don't like that because I feel like I thought that I would have everything figured out in my 20s. Like, I think everyone did. When they were younger, they used to, like, see 20-year-olds and be like, that person is so adult. They have their lives figured out and shit. But now I'm 25, and I still live with my parents. And I'm like, oh, wait a second. Oh. So, yeah. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to talk about my oh, I love this. I wanted to talk about my transition to trans. That's beautiful. I like that. I want that, like, on a plaque. Transition to trans. So, back in 2008, I used to identify as bisexual for a week. Now, I did this because up until then, and, past, but still, up until then, I had been taught that I was supposed to be finding a man, getting married to him, having a baby with him, or multiple, and then becoming a housewife. That was what I was taught. That's what my family believes. That's what my family's church teaches, which is, like, so messed up. But, So, they're very devout, old-school Christians, and that's what they believe. They believe there's, like a patriarchy, or whatever words are for that. I don't really understand politics at all, period. So, first of all, I was like, no. I'm not gonna have something inside of me for 9 months and then pop it out. I mean, I had been in child development. I had seen that video where the lady has a baby, and there was so much hair and blood and shit that I was so like, no. I mean, I never didn't want kids. Like, I like kids. I mean, they can be loud and rude and annoying, but that's the definition of a kid. Loud, rude, and annoying. They're also really cute, and they can be so, like, mind-blowing how smart they are. And how quickly they grow up, and it's crazy, But I didn't like the idea of me being pregnant and me giving birth. I hated that idea. I didn't like that concept. Should have known then I was a male. But, I'm ignorant, and I've been ignorant, and I'm still kind of ignorant. So, I told my mom I was bisexual because I'm like, well, at least there's still that hope that I like guys too. But in reality, I'm not even sexually attracted to men. I mean, there's some guys that I find really attractive, but I wouldn't, like, have sex with them. It's more of a, he has such a chiseled jawline. I wish my jawline was chiseled like that. Or, wow, that guy's really attractive. I wish I was that attractive. That's like that's my attraction to men, is the desire to be like them. Does that make sense? This is terrible. I can hear the fuzz, and I'm sorry about that. I'm trying to fix it, but I don't know how, so I'm just gonna go with the flow. So then after that week of identifying as bi, I was like, you know what? I'm a lesbian. And it's funny because I've identified as 3 sexualities: bi, lesbian, and straight. It's like backwards order, or at least the straight is. I feel like straight should have come first, But it didn't, because back then I identified as female and I did not like males, so that would not make me straight. But now I identify as male and I like females, and that would make me straight. So, the longest thing I identified as was lesbian, sexually, at least. And, you know, it's kind of comical thinking about it, because I identified so hard as lesbian that my old Tumblr URL used to be Klondike Bar. And I remember getting a question like, why do you tag your pictures, and why is your Tumblr username got the word dyke in it? Like, isn't that an offensive term? And back then I was like, hell no. I mean, I identify as a lesbian, but I'm masculine, and, you know, I'm the definition of dyke or butch. And back then, you know, I didn't find those words offensive. But now I can understand why they would be, because I've been called them in an offensive way. And it's funny because I've been called them currently. Like, as I identify as male, there's someone who calls me a dyke or a butch constantly. And I'm like, first of all, you scrawny piece of shit. I'm more of a man than you'll ever be. So, there's that. There is that. Now, back to the whole masculine thing that I just said. Who's to really say what is masculine and feminine? And, what is society? Yes. Society is the one who says, oh, this is masculine, and this is feminine, and anything between is an abomination. That's what society says. And, you know, I live in the South, so that's like the dogma of the dirty South. And I'm over here like, hey, I'm a transgender guy who lives in the South, and I'm one of the most fucking, like, eyesores here, you know, to most people. You know, it's like, I need to get the fuck out of here. I need to not live in the dirty South. I want to move to either the West Coast or, like, Midwest or something. But I'm in the South. Like, I had to be born here. I had to live here my whole life. Like, why couldn't my parents have been like, let's move somewhere else? And I would have been like, yes, please, let's go. Let's go to the most, like, LGBTQIA plus friendly place ever. And you guys can leave when you realize that the community is mostly that, but I'll stay. Snap. So, yeah. So then, sorry. So then, my parents pulled me out of school for being lesbian, which was so stupid. I still don't understand. So they pulled me out of school, and then I went, I remember they took me to a church to try and get the lesbian out of me. Those things are real. Like, I really went to a church, and there was really a preacher who was like, let's do this the right way. Hello, congregation. My name is, I don't even remember the fucking name. My name is so-and-so, and I used to be gay. I used to be attracted to men. I used to fuck them in the butt and let them fuck me in the butt. But you know what? I found God. And God said, gay is wrong. Gay is bad. And now I'm a born-again straight. First of all, I sat through this whole this whole meeting in the congregation like this. Why? But suicide's a sin, so, you know. But it made me so freaking mad. And then my parents were like, let's go talk to him after the whole congregation, the meeting was over. And I was sitting there, and he was like, so, your parents tell me that you're a lesbian? It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. With the power of Christ, you can become... And I was like, this is bullshit. First of all, if, God exists, which I'm agnostic. I believe there's some sort of higher power, but I don't really know what it is or what happens to us when we die. I don't think anybody knows what happens to us when we die, except dead people, but they can't really tell us, can they? I'm not trying to get a Ouija board and find out. I've seen too many horror movies where people just fuck up and call something from the depths of hell or somewhere that just wants to kill. So I'm like, hell nah. So anyway, I don't know what happens when you die. I don't know what's up there, but I do know there's a higher power, because how would you explain half the shit that happens? Science! The more you know. Bill Nye, look, I love you, dude. I watched you all the time when I was younger, but science can't explain every single fucking thing in this world. Like, no. I mean, I'm behind science on half the stuff. Like, I like science. Science is cool. I like learning stuff, sciencey things, but science doesn't explain everything, okay? It just doesn't. I'm sorry. So anyway, where am I going with this? Holy frick. Oh yeah, so this preacher guy was like, God, and I'm like, well, why would God make me the way I am if it's wrong? Like, was this just a big test for me to repent? Like, was this just a big thing for me to be like, wow, I'm like the prodigal son, but the prodigal daughter, because I was born in the wrong body? But no. Like, in my mind, if God wanted me to be a cis straight female, then he would have fucking made me a cis straight female, okay? But he didn't. He didn't. Or she. I don't know who God is. God might not even have a freaking gender. They didn't make me straight, cis, and female. They made me straight, trans male. I can't stress that enough. So, why is it such a problem that I identify as this? Does it hurt you? Does it hurt the guy who keeps calling me a dyke bitch? No, but I did steal his girl, so he's just jealous. Fuck you, dude. I hope you see this some fucking how. Like, I hope you're like, let's see what that dyke bitch's YouTube is, because apparently, I really want to text my fiance and be like, can you tell your piece of shit ex that I just fired shots, and see what happens? Because I would so love to just have a freaking shot battle and see who would win, because I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be me, but I could totally kick his ass afterwards. So, I know where he lives. I know where he fucking lives, and I would damn sure drive to his house and knock on his door and be like, hey, can I tell you something? And just clock him in the face. Anyway, back to the point. Yeah, so I went to this bullshit, church and did the bullshit whole, I sat through that shit, and then on the car ride home, I thought about being like, oh my god, I'm so attracted to men, I'm gonna become a prostitute and see what would have happened. That would have been great. But I didn't. I just rode silently. So, I went home, and I had even more of a determination to do it. So I went online, and I became Peter. And, Peter was literally me, just with a different name, different gender, lived in a different state. That was it. Some people would be like, you catfish the internet. You made people think you were someone you're not. Well, actually, the only thing I really, fibbed about was where I lived, which, why wouldn't you? And my name, which, why wouldn't you? Do you really want people on the internet knowing where you live? I don't either. So anyway, I did the Peter thing for a few years, and then someone found out. I think you guys know the story. Someone found out and posted my, Facebook on there, my feminine Facebook or my female Facebook, and people found out and they were mad. The funny thing about it is half that website had fake people on it anyway. I remember this one dude, his name was Ricky, and he was really buff. His picture was and he had a shirt off and abs and a washboard, and but he was the nicest fucking guy. But that wasn't him. The picture wasn't him. I think his name actually was Ricky, though. But the picture wasn't him. And then, come to find out, there was another guy on there who was fake. His name was Julian. I hated that guy. Like, first of all, whose name is Julian? But I hated that guy. And he kept his literally his fucking profile picture or whatever on that website kept changing, like, every week. And he would be a different ethnicity. And I'd be like, excuse me, how the fuck did you do that? I want that power. Are you an X-Man? X-Men? Are you a something? But... yeah, and, there were some people on there, like, that posted fake pictures, and I talked to them, and then I found out that that wasn't really them, and I was like, at least I had the decency to post my actual picture and not lie about what I look like. That's catfishing to me, not like, hey, I live in Chicago, Illinois, when I actually lived in, the South, or, hey, my name's Peter, when my name was actually insert government here, So, anyway, after that, after I got found out, I was like, well, fuck it. I'm just going to be a lesbian in my own little world. So, then I started branching out of the online internet world and was like, I'm going to go to the outside world. The graphics are great, but the storyline is terrible. So I went out there and, I met some people and I got involved with them and I heavily identified as lesbian. All my friends were lesbian. It was like I was on an episode of the L Word. Except, no, it was pretty accurate to the L Word. That was a stereotypical everything. So, yeah. So, then... what happened then? So then I stopped associating with them because lesbians are all drama. At least the ones I was friends with. They were all drama. Everyone slept with everyone. I mean, literally it was an episode of the L Word. It was crazy, and I thought that shit wasn't real. It's real. At least that group of lesbians. And, you have to keep in mind, this was back when, they were 16, 17, and I was 19, 20. It's kind of bad. But, yeah. So, I hung out with younger people, and they were just all fucking drama. Like, that was it. And I think the reason that I hung out with younger people was because I got snatched out of high school, so I never got to finish the whole, year out with the people my age. So then I was like, well, I kind of want to delve back in and, like rewind and, like, start over with people that are younger and act like I'm younger. And I look younger, so it wasn't really a big deal. So anyway, after that, I kind of moved on to a different set of people and stuff. And, I started learning more about other identities, like gender identities, not just sexual identities, but gender identities. And I think it became more prominent that through the media, and it was getting covered more, like Laverne Cox was starting to get, like, Orange is the New Black happened, and she got, her role in there, and I was like, wow, she is fine. Like, wow. So I Googled her, and come to find out, she's trans. And I was like, whoa, that's awesome. And then I started looking into the surgery and, like, the process and all that. And I was like, wait, whoa, hold on. You mean to tell me that there's surgeries and hormones and stuff that you can do and take to become who you are in here? And in here? And it blew my mind because, like, I had heard about transgender people back, like, way back, but I wasn't, like, I didn't think anything bad or good. I was just kind of neutral on it. I was like, oh, that's cool. But in my mind, I think it was, I wasn't sure of myself. Now, here comes the thing. And it's funny because I looked it up a little bit, but in 2014, March, I identified as gender fluid. And it's funny because, March 2015 was when I identified as trans. So, March 2014, I identified as gender fluid, and it's because I did not want... Society had painted this picture of masculine and feminine. And duh, my body produces estrogen. Duh, I still have my menstruation. Duh, like, I still have my lady parts or whatever. So, in my mind, I was like, well, there's still a feminine aspect to me. And there's still femininity in me. And so I was like, well, maybe I'm gender fluid because there's so many masculine traits about myself, but there's also some, like, dormant feminine traits. So I was like, yeah, that makes sense. But then as I started researching gender fluidity, now I know. There's, like, the cut and dry standard definition of things. Because transgender is an umbrella term, and a lot of stuff falls under that category. Same thing with gender fluid. You can be gender fluid, but not, like, wear dresses and shit, but you still are in touch with your feminine, or not wear makeup and still in touch with your feminine side. But then I started thinking, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck that. I can be in touch with my feminine side as a male. I've always been more masculine. I've always been more male, growing up. I never really was feminine at all. Now, like I said, society sets the whole, what is feminine, what is masculine, and everyone's like, oh, let's go with that. But I had never exhibited any traits of femininity. I wasn't concerned with how I looked. I'm still not, can't you tell? I wasn't concerned with makeup or tight-fitting clothes. And I know this is not, like, it's stupid to think that those are, like, the requirements to be female. You know what I mean? They're not. But society was such a strong impact in my life. And I'm an only child. I grew up in a church. So when I, like, transitioned over to public school, like, I was never homeschooled, but, like, my friends were in church. But when I started public school and they stayed homeschooled, I got so much exposure that they didn't get. And back then, male and female stereotypes were huge. And people just kind of went with them in the 90s. People just kind of went with them and just, so that's ingrained in my head. It's been ingrained in my head for years. I've been taught, like, masculine is this, feminine is this. And now I question it. Now I'm like, wait, who says that boys can't wear makeup? Who says that girls can't fucking join the army and be badass? You know what I mean? And now it's like there's women in the army. There's a male cover girl. You know what I'm saying? Like we've come a long way, but we've still got a long way to go before we can break out of this gender stereotype. We can break out of the masculine versus feminine. There's more than two fucking genders, people. So why are we so hung up on this masculine feminine charade? So anyway, that was it. I was like, you know what? And a big, huge inspiration for this whole realization was there's a band. Everyone says it's 3 different bands, but it's the same people. There's a band called Tool. And 90s, like, they were big in the 90s. And there's also a band called A Perfect Circle. And there's Pussifer, but I'm mainly talking about Tool and A Perfect Circle. It's the same exact people in the band. Same singer, same everything. Maynard is, as far as I know, he's a cis male. I don't really know how he identifies with sexuality, but he's a cis male, okay? Tool, the music, is his masculine side, so he said. The music is more like it's harder, it's more like rock, I guess. A Perfect Circle, he said, is his feminine side. Now, if I really want you guys to do your research after this video, if you take anything from this video, take this. Go and look up Tool, like The Pot, Stinkfist. I don't know a lot of Tool songs, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. There's other ones, but I just named 2. Wow. And, like, listen to their music. Just really listen to it. Like, listen to the words, listen to how he sounds, listen to the emotion in his voice. And then I want you to go listen to A Perfect Circle. Now, I could tell you a lot of those songs. over peace, love, and understanding. There's a lot more. The Hollow, Magdalena, Judith, The Nurse Who Loved Me. There's a bunch of shit. You should just listen to all of them. They have, on Spotify, I know, they have, like, an album that's, like, not Pussifer, a Perfect Circles collection, and it's literally, like, all their stuff. I have a Perfect Circle tattoo. That's what I'm getting at. I don't know how I went from this to this, but a perfect circle is his feminine side, right? But I connected more with a perfect circle than I did with Tool. I like Tool, the songs and stuff, but I really, really connected with the perfect circle. I don't know why. It's my go-to, like, when I'm having an emotional problem. It's my go-to, like, music. Oh, 21 Pilots is now, but a perfect circle, I could sit down and play their music, and I just absolutely love it. But the fact that Maynard said that was his feminine side really got me thinking, because this is when I identified as gender fluid. I was like, he's a cis male, and he is in touch with his masculine and feminine side. I'm a Libra, the scales. So my main concern is balance and equality and this, and I'm constantly juggling that in my life. And then I realized something. It was like an epiphany that I had, and I should have had this epiphany forever ago because, again, masculine and feminine is just a construct made by society. It's not real. It's literally like something society was like, fuck this, I'm just gonna make these rules. So I had an epiphany, and I was like, you don't have to identify as female to have feminine aspects. There are masculine cis females, and there are feminine cis males. They don't have to be gay, or they don't have to be lesbian. They just might be masculine. And that's okay. So, I identified as gender fluid for a little bit. I mean, for about a year, actually. And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I'm not gender fluid. I'm just a male who is in touch with some of his femininity. And I know, like, one of the main things that I'm in touch with, feminine-wise, is my vocal range. And I know that sounds weird, but I thoroughly enjoy, I'm doing this because I'm making sure my voice sounds good. I thoroughly enjoy singing. And I'm not afraid to hit high notes because I know I can, and I enjoy singing, and I enjoy belting out high notes. And I don't really give a frick if they're female singers or male singers. I have a range. I haven't started testosterone or anything, so I still have my vocal range, and I hope I still keep it when I start testosterone. But, yeah, so I identified as gender fluid for a while, but then I realized that I'm just a male who is in touch with some feminine aspects of his life. You know, I think that's the main feminine aspect of my life that I'm in touch with is music, or is vocals. You know, yeah, so, and then, you know, after that year of identifying as gender fluid, I was like, you know what, I'm trans. And I made this post on Instagram, March 1st, 2015, and I'm going to read it to you. It says, "My name is Vic. I've lately been struggling with gender identity. I've been going to therapy and thinking in depth about this. I've decided to identify as male. This is going to be a rocky road." It said rocky fucking road. "And a tough process, but I feel in my head and in my heart that I am a male. If anyone has a problem with that, unfollow, unfriend, block, whatever you have to do to help justify your closed-minded views. This is the beginning of my journey by far, and I will stop at nothing. Thank you for those of you who support me. Those of you who don't, I hope that one day you will see reason. Vic Prince." Now, I'm proud of myself for that post, because that post could have been nasty. I could have been like, you could fuck right off if you don't think that I'm trans, because I know what I am and you don't know what I am. I know what I am, and what I am is what I am, and I'm a male. But I feel like I was kind about it, because in my mind, I don't want to be that asshole who is also trans and people affiliate oh, well, he's trans and he's a dick whenever we ask him questions about his identity, so all trans people are assholes. I don't want to portray that. I don't want to come across as that. So I'm just like, you know what? No. So that was posted exactly 2 years ago, and the only thing I've really done is grown leg hair and armpit hair, and my voice has gotten a little deeper. But other than that, I haven't started any hormones. I have not had surgery. But I'm slowly becoming comfortable with the way I am currently. I need to be comfortable with where I am now and just set goals. I can't be upset that I'm not there yet, because I think the problem with that, a lot of younger trans people struggle because they saw how quickly Caitlyn Jenner transitioned. I use her as an example because she came out as trans right around the time that I did. And the media jumped on that. I don't know if you guys remember when Caitlyn came out, but she got a cover on Vanity Fair. She was fully transitioned real quick. I mean, real fucking quick. And I think everyone who saw that, like the trans community, was like, I think she gave them courage to come out in one aspect, but in another aspect, she caused a lot of people to have dysphoria, because it was like, what is my hair doing? Because it was like, oh, she transitioned so fast because she has so much money. I wish I could do that, you know, and I do. Like, I wish I just stumbled upon the perfect amount of money to go to gender therapy, to get the letter, to get on hormones, to get top surgery. That's the 3 things that I want right now. Bottom surgery is really scary. So I'm like, that's going to be my last thing that I do. But top surgery, I want these fuckers gone, you know? Like, I have my binder, and my binder holds up. I'm looking up because I literally use my binder to block the microwave clock so I can sleep at night. But my binder has held up and has done good compressing me. My packers have done good. But I just, you know, I'm okay with that not being complete yet. Like, I know in my menstruation video I talked about how, oh my frick, like, I'm tired of this, but once I start testosterone, the menstruation's gonna go away. So I'm not really worried about that. And I have my peacocks, and I can always get a new jock harness. So it's like, I can make that work. I can stand to pee now. I don't even need my packer. I can stand to pee, literally. I can do that. Like, I can do that. I know every time I, you know, have to pee and there's not a bathroom, my fiance is like, you need to pee? And I'm like, yeah. So she goes to pop a squat, and I go with her because I'm like, I gotta pee too. And I'm standing up over there peeing, and she's like popping a squat, like, how the hell do you pee standing up? And I'm like, I'm a guy. That's what I do. So, you know, it's funny because you can literally adapt to anything. I think humans are adaptable. And so the fact that Caitlyn came out and Caitlyn was like, all of a sudden it was like, boom, fully transitioned. And it was like, why can't I be fully transitioned like that? Why can't I just fucking have money laying around? My family got famous for absolutely fucking nothing. At least I was in the Olympics and won some medals, but they got famous for nothing, and I'm making money off of them. I'm not even with Chris anymore, or whatever the fuck her name is. So, all that being said, you know, I think it was tough because Caitlyn came out right when I came out, and then I was like, wow. And, you know, there's people who have been trans for, like, their whole life, but they don't come out until they're, like, 50 or 60. And by then, they've got fucking retirement fund to go transition. But I'm over here like, I'm 25, and I'm trans, and I want to be fully transitioned. And I think for the longest time, I was identifying as the wrong thing. And now it's like I finally have, like, light. I've finally been, like, enlightened that I'm male. And so it's really frustrating that I can't just transition like that, or at least get the ball rolling more. But I'm getting to the point now where I'm more patient, and I'm more like, you know what, I identify as male. The people in my life that are constant see me as male, except for my family. But, like, Ashley's family sees me as male. or at least they use the right pronouns. I don't think they see me as male, but they at least use the right pronouns. So there's one thing. You know, Ashley never messes up on my pronouns. My stepson calls me dada or daddy. He sees me as male. So, you know, that's great. And I can finally be a parent and not have to pop a kid out of me. Like, that's cool too. So, you know, as far as it goes, I'm happy with where I am. It's been a rough 2 years. I mean, I've had moments where I've had to get human resources involved at one of my old jobs because somebody was using the wrong pronouns on purpose and kept, you know, doing shit, and I got human resources involved, and they took care of that problem. And then me and that person actually talked it out, and they were like, you know, I never meant to disrespect you. And I was like, well, then fuck. You shouldn't have done that. So, you know, all that being said, this video was way longer than I intended, but it's been a tough journey, but I'm still here. I'm still alive, and I think that matters for something. And I just want to say, like, if you identify as trans and you're getting discouraged because you're not as far along as some of the guys on YouTube, or you're not buff, or you're not where you want to be, just look at me. I mean, I'm not anywhere close to where I want to be, but I'm still here, and I'm still fighting, and I'm still, you know, still kicking it. Even though I have people in my life who don't use the right pronouns, or even though I have that one guy that just keeps referring to me as a lesbian or a dyke or whatever, or talking shit, I can't let that get to me, even though I do. But I can't let that get to me. And you know, but I just want to say, like, if you're feeling down and you're feeling discouraged and you feel like you're not there, just remember that not everyone who is trans is there. Like, there's a lot of trans people out there who are not even close to where they want to be, or who eventually become okay with how they are and don't even end up transitioning fully. Like, there's trans people who are okay with their body, but, you know, again, transgender is an umbrella. And once you find where you identify and where you fall on that spectrum, you almost accept how you are. And accept that you will either get there, or you're there already and you're cool with how you are. And that's awesome. So just remember to drop the stereotype of masculine and feminine, and also give A Perfect Circle a listen, because they might help you. Or Tool. Or Pussifer. Pussifer is his sexual side. I just want to say that. Like, he's got the feminine, the masculine, and the sexual. And it's funny how the sexual falls outside of the feminine and masculine. So that means maybe he's not even cis. I mean, maybe he's not even straight. What are words? So go listen to them, or listen to music that makes you happy. You know, find a hobby that makes you happy and stick with it. Like, I identify as male, hell yeah, but hell yeah, I can sound like Christina Aguilera or Ariana Grande when I want to. I can hit those notes and belt them out and hold them, because I got a range. I got range like no motherfucker knows. That was a reference. Hope you got that. So, anyway, after 40 minutes of back and forth bouncing, I just want to say, stay strong, and keep your head up or down, and just go through life, and you will get there. We'll get there together. Let's go on this rocky road ice cream adventure, and hopefully not get cavities. So, anyway, thank you guys for watching, and it's been a great 2 years, and I plan on it being the rest of my life. So, stay tuned for that, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Later.